advertise a program on them station. Okay. Here we there now. We. Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, what you doing? Eating?
Not at all.
Okay. All right. We have on the line here Naya. Should I say Sonia Naya or Sonia Naya? Which one I must say?
Sonia.
Sonia Naya.
It sounds like a Y in that name.
Okay, Sonia Naya. Sonia Naya is a sister up at the University of the West Indies, and she is deeply into the culture of Jamaica, especially the music part of the culture. She has written books about the dancehall. She has done lectures about the dancehall. And now we're reaching a point now where there's so much things are fling all over the place about this Vybz Kartel thing that she wrote something that was brought to my attention by my lady Jackie, and it was very interesting. I don't know if you have the thing in front of you there, but you care reading what you wrote? You don't have
you want me to read what I wrote?
Yes. You don't have it in front
Muta?
of you?
I have it in front of me.
It's a long thing?
It's a long thing, man.
Well, read it until me tell you so you talk too long for talk.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
read it, yeah.
So, let me first say, Muta, that this came at a point when I was really concerned about some of the things that I had seen written. And so I decided that I would write a response. And so I explained quite a bit in this piece. So let me begin. It's entitled Convicted, the Exceptional World Boss and the Dilemma of Social Responsibility. Self-styled the world boss, Vybz Kartel, a.k.a. Adidja Palmer, got himself in what my father, a former police officer, would call a big pot load of trouble. And I've edited that because I actually use the word. I know it's after hours and I can say it, but I'm choosing not to say it. My father would say a big pot load of trouble, but it's, all right.
Yeah.
But how does one choose to imbibe and then get a gastronomic forward after the vomit they flush? This question has taunted me for days. As I was asked to write about the verdict, asked where are my comments on the Kartel matter, I could only think of this question. So here we go. First of all, I do not have a practice of spending my energy on anything that my spirit rejects. This explains why I did not publish the paper I wrote years ago entitled Gully vs. Gaza, Theorizing Violence, Factions, and Fandom in Jamaican Dancehall Performance. Explains the refusal to associate with the now infamous UWI lecture. I was not in attendance and chose not to offer my book, Dancehall from Slave Ship to Ghetto. And I hesitated to comment in any medium whatsoever on anything related to Vybz Kartel. Some appearances over the years for commentary on the Gully Gaza feud or other aspects of dancehall that relate to social responsibility can be found. But in the main, I have completely stayed clear of the world boss and his musical empire. Confession is always good for the soul. I am the first to admit one thing. The return of the word empire to common usage in Jamaica because of Kartel's reference to the Gaza empire was immediately welcomed. It is very true that many of us have forgotten how to build empires, and this is a travesty when post-colonial societies such as Jamaica are badly and indeed sadly in need of the commitment, hard work, spirit, and leadership required to build empires. Let me add that Emergency on the Siren Rhythm and Turn and Wine on the very infectious DNA are two of my favorite Kartel tunes. Rampin' Shop, Clark's, Dollar Sign, Beyonce Wine, and Weed Smokers will always get me dancing. They absolutely rock. So yes, I have been listening. I pay attention to what rocks my spirit. and not what's rocking others. For one who has dabbled in phenomenology, existentialism, and the value of the human experience as a metaphysical phenomenon, and knowing well that the act of confession for the purpose of ultimate empowerment, integrity, and personal/collective growth is crucial, beginning this post at the personal level is extremely significant. Writing for writing's sake is meaningless if I can't speak my truth as I write, whether for academic or personal purposes. I am not moved to write. Consequently, this post, which I have chosen to write, the blog post, had to begin with the personal, the confession, and yes, it must highlight what I see as hypocrisy at the heart of many of the commentaries about the world boss and his convictions. My account here is not intended as a remembrance or chronological accounting of Kartel's musical sojourn. I am much more interested in contributing to a rarer fare, an enterprise that is less attractive, requiring integrity, and akin to Peckian, this is Scott Peck's road less traveled. The same, and everything good to eat, good to talk. So I'm very aware that the cause of reliving the concluded trial is not productive, and neither is pronouncing on the numerous statements about the world boss, its character, and alleged notoriety. Those are for the court, official or unofficial, heavenly or earthly. What I will say is that Jamaicans have already said, what I will say is what Jamaicans have always said. If it no go so, it go near so, which might explain why he was judged first in the court of public opinion that had been receiving accounts of killings, feuds, controversies, beatings, threats, fear, deep fear, and traumatic encounters because of the world boss. Those things did not find their way into the justice system, but the recent charges certainly brought a lot of ire, praise, appeal, slogan, Free Gargamel. After all, when I became clear that dancehall music was my music of choice, on hearing the likes of Shabarangs and the mighty Buju, there was hardly any turning back from the melodious drum-based tones with which they communicated in a sort of verbal divinity. I am waiting patiently for Buju's next concert. Me, I got dead upon my ears, just like I was present for Miss Signal's return to the stage at Sting 2012 after a brief incarceration in the U.S. Yes, many of our musical stars have fallen foul of the law in various jurisdictions, and various of our stars have enjoyed increased popularity with incarceration. Jacure is a classic example. Now, my Buju aside, gun and drug charges are quite different from murder charges. After all, the world boss was dealing with another kind of devil. There are certainly no reports of him cavorting with any white devil. Additionally, in a weird way, they both have been charged with serious crimes and facing several years behind bars. As a mega fan of Banton, I write about my experience of Buju in my book Dancehall. I totally understand how Gaza, and more particularly Kartel fans, must feel. After all, a load of trouble has befallen their idol, and as Dottie Berry has quipped, who are going to tell the girls how them body good from morning? Well, beyond the enterprise of fandom, academics such as myself have the burden of asking relevant questions. And it seems to me that to ask whether the court and the general public were able to decipher the world boss's mask or entertain a persona from that of Adidja Palmer's is about the biggest load of bovine excrement I have heard in a while. Please excuse this another reference to excrement. But we really must examine these matters carefully. According to Cooper, in her commentary on March 16, this was published in the Gleaner.
Hold it. This is Dr. Colin Cooper you're talking about now.
Yes.
Okay.
Her article, which was published in the Sunday Gleaner on March 16.
All right.
And I quote from that article. She says, "We refuse to concede the possibility that Vybz Kartel is a persona, a mask worn by an actor to project a fabricated character. As a consequence, it is not Adidja Palmer who has been on trial for murder. It is Vybz Kartel. I wonder, she says, if the media's insistence on calling Adidja Palmer by his stage name may not have been prejudicial. Has Adidja Palmer's right to be presumed innocent perhaps been violated by the constant assertion that his real identity is actually Vybz Kartel? Has Adidja Palmer been proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt? Or is it the cardboard cutout Vybz Kartel? End of quote. And I'm asking, who is this we who refuse to concede the possibility that Vybz Kartel is a persona? As if the question about whether Adidja Palmer's presumed innocence was compromised by Vybz Kartel the mask isn't bad enough. Here's the statement that leaves me befuddled. And I quote again from Cooper's article. But, in all seriousness, she says, I keep asking myself if Adidja Palmer has been convicted beyond reasonable doubt, in the modern sense of the legal term. I also wonder if he's really innocent. End of quote. Such questions are reasonable considering the history of failures of justice in Jamaica and our seeming lack of commitment to reforming a system that consistently targets the marginalized and, in particular, disenfranchised among us. Yes, the rich buy their way out of imprisonment by affording good lawyers, and rarely are corrupt politicians brought to justice. So, our people have no trust in the justice system, and neither do they have any trust in the people placed to maintain law and order. On the matter of the world boss's innocence, however, a court of justice has now ruled with the help of a jury that saw evidence to which the public was not privy. It has been said that evidence presented was overwhelming in its proof of guilt. The fact is, throughout the trial, the public did not hear of the evidence because it was not viewed by those who could give us coverage via written or multimedia news reports. So without seeing the evidence in the courtroom presided over by Judge Lennox Campbell, innocence was thrown out the door in the court of John Public and also in Campbell's court. Not only did conflict follow the world boss, but so did controversy. That is always a sign of personal trouble. The psychologists will tell you that the inability to foster, maintain, and nurture meaningful relationships reveals that something is outside the norm. For me, the break from the Alliance fraternity was a first sign of this, which continued with other music personalities, including producers, investors, managers, colleagues, Gaza hopefuls, and even friends. Also, it seemed after a while that Vybz Cartoon, as some people call him, became completely animated by those people who allowed him to levitate on the hot balloons of sunshine they blew righteously up his proverbial derriere. You see, the opportunity to write articles on justice for Adidja Palmer might be used to take account of prevailing conditions and circumstances. Such an opportunity might be used to take an honest account of how little we know of Adidja Palmer, Vybz Kartel, World Boss, or Vybz Cartoon for that matter. Perhaps Ninja Man said it best. It is definitely time for some among us to stop watching Gangster Show and start watching Law and Order. But right or wrong, Kartel has become the example the Jamaican police have been trying to find in order to convince notorious lawbreakers that they are serious about ridding Jamaica of crime and violence. Whether you believe this or not, believe this can be achieved in the ways being currently pursued, such as the recently launched United for Change campaign or zero tolerance being applied for various misdemeanors, is another matter entirely. If anything, I question the intelligence that was poured into the barrage of solid lyrical incisions Kartel made in the dancehall music universe to the neglect of personal well-being. After all, witty wares peddled after being recorded on cutting-edge equipment does not intelligence make. Equating coherent, cogent speech with intelligence in the overall unfolding of one's daily life is simply not intelligent. When one provides the evidence for their own demise, blow by blow, digit by digit, then one has missed something important about the idea of the tipping point. The tipping point, I am saying, is crucial. We can't just be firing in this turbine called Jamaica, living unstoppable, invincible velocity in what has become a crime-ridden, scarred, yet paradisical place. Education is challenged, industry is challenged, and leadership is challenged. Culture, particularly music, is one of our saving graces, yet some are content to ignore the evils that befall it. I am not, and I never said, dancehall is to be blamed. I am not, and would never say, dancehall is dying. Instead, I say we're at a moment of transition. We are either going to take the opportunity now or continue to self-destruct in the powerful turbine of talawacity called Jamaica. We always say we look about Tala, right? This turbine of talawacity called Jamaica. So many have said it in so many ways. But the profound irony is that I choose to close with Buju Banton and Ninja Man, two dancehall artists who are themselves convicted or charged with various crimes. Their profound invocations speak for themselves. And I open quote. I'm quoting here from Ninja Man. He says, music is a spiritual thing. And when you have the music, there's a demonic force we surround music, We're fighting the spirit of the Almighty, Because music is love and music is God, Music makes people unite, And music makes people be together. Music makes people learn to communicate. So it's a thing we keep a godliness and a togetherness within people, which the devil not like that. So the devil takes set from the most powerful people in choose to draw you out in every way he can. That's Ninja Man. The second quotation is here. I am quoting Buju Banton, who says, Bible, we never even into that. We go a road, go play music, and I know say spiritual wickedness out there away from we. I beg the singers, players of instruments, and fellow Jamaicans to take heed. Social responsibility is collective responsibility. We must rebuild the proverbial village, become our sisters and brothers keepers, and unite for change. I saw the thing set, and we have to turn up the love to fight against spiritual wickedness in high and low places. I leave you, I am saying in this article, with an account from the Observer entitled The Kartel Chronicles, for those who might not be aware of some of the major occurrences over the period of Kartel. And I also ended with a blog post from Annie Paul, which included a number of the tweets leading up to the trial, during the trial, and also especially on the day when the verdict was handed down. So that is it.
Okay, that
is what I decided to contribute as part of my own conversation about how important social responsibility is. In spite of the fact that we are in this crime-ridden space, how important social responsibility is. In spite of the fact that we are in this crime-ridden space that is so blessed, called Jamaica.
All right. So I could go through it, without, well, when I go through the whole life, but there's certain things that you say. All right. The idea about Adidja Palmer versus Vybz Kartel, and that what Carolyn said about it was Vybz Kartel that was on trial.
Yes.
And not Adidja Palmer. She's trying to, it's like when with a brother named Bruce Golding. When they asked Bruce Golding about the thing. Him say it's not the government, it's the GLP. Something another, some relationship with the Manad Phelps and things.
Right.
Him differentiate the GLP, even though the government was GLP. The GLP government was in power, so the GLP farmed the government. But him differentiate the GLP from the government.
Yes.
And recently, we have seen a lot of artists have a kind of schizophrenic thing. Marian Hall is not Lady Sir, Moses is not being a man, and the list goes on and on and on. Is there a rational thinking behind this idea? Because you say Caroline mentioned that it was Vybz Kartel, and it did something to the case for Adidja Palmer, because people was looking at not Adidja Palmer but Vybz Kartel. Vybz Kartel was not on trial. It was Adidja Palmer. Based upon for the reasoning. The reasoning. Yes. All right. So how you see that view? How you see that view?
Well, this is a view that is a reasonable question to pose. I'm not saying it's not a reasonable question. My problem is that if it is that we're going to pose such a question, we have to investigate all of what that question implies. And I'm saying, as an academic, as a scholar of Jamaican culture, as a scholar of literary and cultural studies, as a scholar of popular cultural studies, what I'm interested in, if we're going to make the distinction between Vybz Kartel and Adidja Palmer, and to assume that the Jamaican public is not aware of the importance of that dichotomy, the importance of separating those two, the persona and the person, what we must be able to consider in a Muta is who is in the evidence presented in court. The footage, the text messages, all of this kind of thing. Who is the person that the evidence has been brought to bear against that court of law? If it is that that evidence has been brought to bear against Adidja Palmer, how can we say that Adidja Palmer did not get a fair trial? The fact is that it is not the consideration of John public, me and you and all of the people out here who are not in court. It's not our consideration that are accounted for in the court why the jurors made the decision they made. So the evidence was brought to bear against Adidja Palmer. All right? I do not recall anywhere in that court of law where his lyrics were considered as part of the evidence. My understanding is that the evidence that was brought by the police related to text messages and other kinds of evidence that related to incidences around the man who is presumed to be deceased.
Yeah,
so therefore, if we are trying to make a distinction between person and persona, and it wasn't brought up as a point of contention in the trial, so that the judge, for example, or the jurors or the lawyers responsible in that case did not bring up the need for psychological assessment, that there was the conflation of person and persona, and that this man called Adidja Palmer was now no longer Adidja Palmer, but had become Vybz Kartel totally, and was totally involved in the hype of himself as an entertainer.
But wait,
none of that emerged in the trial is what I'm saying.
All right. But you know, Naya, the name Vybz Kartel do have to come up amongst the jury them, for the jury them have a subliminal and historical reference point in their mind before them was jury or jurors towards this brother. In other words, this brother was subliminally in a most Jamaican people mind already for you to project lewd lyrics and all sort of thing, right? So these 11 people, maybe they had a perception before of Vybz Kartel that when them look and say the same man who named Adidja Palmer is in front of them couldn't separate it in their mind. So when the case come up, I don't think them have to call this man name in the court for them say Well, I mean, done that brother there, you know, long me did want to get you that brother there. See him come up in front of me, you know, what I call him, a DJ Palmer. Vybz Kartel that, him for go to jail. Oh, you see?
So I understand how this could be of concern. And I understand that this might be part of the concern that is being raised. My issue, though, is that if that is the case, we cannot be raising this issue at the end of the trial. We must have been advocating for this before, because it means that he would not have been able to get a fair trial inside of Jamaica. Do you understand what I'm saying, Muta?
Yeah, I understand. You know, I just throw the question where the people them are saying, you know. I just throw it out, you know, because I can understand the duplicity of saying that one is one and one is the other. Yet till I can realize, in certain, I as an outsider, I listen to the music and I listen to a whole heap of artists' music. I come realize, them not just reflecting what going on in society, but is that an autobiographical language? Them are right based upon for them understanding of themselves and for them doings in a them community. So it's not like a man take a thing and I say, why, him is God, and you know say man not God. Him is the devil, and you know say man not devil. Where my right is like, not necessarily Vybz Kartel himself, but other artists, them actually are write things where them are do and them are experience. So maybe the people them in the court are recognize, say, them song there with a brother they are singing, you know. Him a go on like them a reflect something about him. Because when you listen down on the other tune them, where him sing, you realize about wait, I see a man, Vybz Kartel, DJ Palmer, I see a man. So you have that level, and you have the next level now where looking at it intellectually, according to how intellect go, you try to be as rational as possible and say, look here now, I'm going to take that Vybz Kartel persona out of my mind, you know, and look on the evidence we are presented in the court. I don't know if you can really do that in a Jamaica. Considering the man them never come, the jury never come from foreign. For come to them and they never hear tune them yet.
That's exactly the point I'm making. That when you rise, the larger problem, you know, is a psychological one. When you rise to a particular point in the society, so whether it's a prime minister, whether it is a dancehall star, whether it is, you know, somebody who has risen to some level of fame or notoriety, you are in the public eye, and you are perceived in particular ways. Worse, if you are constantly producing things like music that people have access to.
Yeah.
How then can you get a fair trial in Jamaica? So this is a larger problem than just the separation of Vybz Kartel and DJ Palmer. It means that none of these figures would be able to get a fair trial in Jamaica. We'd have to take a case outside of Jamaica.
Yeah.
Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah, understand what I say. I mean, yeah, understand what I say. It's like you premeditate the guilt already. So no matter what the evidence is, you don't premeditate say him guilty or not guilty.
Or in some cases you premeditate the innocent already.
Yeah, that may I say him guilty or not guilty. You premeditate it.
Whether it is that the person is projecting negatives in the society or they're projecting positives, whatever it is, they get into a court of law in their own country. They're going to be judged by a jury of their peers. This is the thing. It is your peers that you are being judged by. The system is set up that way. We have inherited that system from our colonizers, right? This is the system that we know to exist. So if we're questioning the system, no problem. But I think to raise that in a context around Vybz Kartel is to raise an issue that could be raised around anyone who has been
found guilty or not guilty. Yes.
Exactly. In either way, they can either be, you know, presumed to be guilty or presumed to be
not
guilty.
To be guilty. Yes,
exactly.
Yes. So we're
I'm saying further, where there is a problem in terms of the individual seeing themselves not as a DJ Palmer but as Vybz Kartel. Now that becomes a psychological matter. It's not for the public. We were not in the court.
Yes. And I am told that there's a lot of things that was done in the court that we as the public was not privy to. That also decide
what we were privy to.
That a lot of things did in the court that we were not privy to, but also decided the guilt of this man based upon what the jury was privy to, and we was not privy to. So even though we can say, but you know, the police them use the phone and this and this and that, yet still what we say that police use the phone, but look on this now. The corresponding thing relate to something else that police using the phone is minor. Which I heard that sister talk about it on television tonight, which I say, the police use the phone, but that is not the deciding or decisive evidence that was presented in the court for make you say, well, why the police use the phone, so we could cancel that then and done the court then, because the police use the phone, so we can't use no other evidence again. When the man says that there was so much other evidence that was proper there, that the police using the phone was of no significance to where the other evidence them is. That is what they must say.
That is correct. That is my understanding. That is my understanding as well. And I so it becomes unfortunate. We are saddled with this court system, this system of justice in Jamaica. And we know that it has some flaws. We know that it has some major flaws. In fact, one of the things is that we said to ourselves, we know. Everybody had a clue of some kind that, people who rise to a certain level in this society, they're not going to get convicted for nothing. All when they're guilty, they're not going to get convicted because we don't have a record of seeing people brought to justice and being made to serve the time for the crimes that they commit. Right? So many people thought, Kartel is going to beat the case. Just like we think Kern Spencer is going to beat the case. No politicians are usually brought to justice. What I'm saying is, we as a people know that there are flaws. Know that if you have a good lawyer, you can get off of the case. You pay the whole of money and you know.
So
you retain the right lawyer, you get off of the case.
So
we don't trust the system that is there.
So you say Vybz Kartel end up in the big man category then, where have money and everybody feels him will get off of the case and him never get off.
That's right.
That is what you say.
So here is
a big man, even though we can recognize Kartel is from the bowel of the ghetto. But he became one of the big man them in relationship to our money. Because it's money run the thing. And so you are saying now that Kartel cannot be looked upon in this case as a ghetto youth, but as a money and as a money man.
Ghetto youth in terms of his following.
Yeah, and because he is a money man, everybody did expect him to get off.
He certainly rose to a certain kind of stature where he was able to retain one of the best combinations in terms of legal defense scene.
Yes. Very, very, very interesting. And I am sorry that Karen Cooper is in Puerto Rico. One of the Rico them, she just called me a while ago because I've been trying to get her to really respond to your reasoning about what she said. But as I said before, she's in Puerto Rico. She said she don't even know about that. She don't even know where I say, about where you write. So I help up to when she come back here. But till I was going to find your blog. So I help pop when she read it. That's where I say.
Well, you know that I'm not into cuscus. Any kind of cuscus.
That not going to be. That is not Gaza or Goliness, or that is University of the West Indies. This is faculty versus not the faculty.
Exactly my point. Professor Caroline Cooper is somebody I have a lot of respect for.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, she has got a lot of flack and a lot of conversation going because of her invitation to Vybz.
Yeah, I saw a cartoon in the paper. I saw a cartoon in the paper that.
And I am the first to say I had absolutely no problem with the invitation to Kartel to give a lecture at the University of the West Indies.
Yes.
What I had a problem with was the organization of that lecture, which left people very concerned about the kinds of questions being asked by students, the way in which the lecture itself was it turned out to be quite a bit of mayhem because the place was overrun. Perhaps the venue could have been different. I mean, so many things went awry in terms of the organization.
Explain to me the questions that were asked, because I did it, what's explain?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the students posed questions, some of which were, some people thought those questions were irrelevant, repeating themselves, but not only that. Kartel's responses to those questions was also a problem in the sense that he chose not to answer some of them, was able to point out to students that question was asked already. And I think, if it was perhaps organized as a panel of speakers, persons who were,
you mean like in the assembly hall where them sit down round up like a table?
In the assembly hall, something like that. Kartel would have made his presentation. And then you have focused questions posed to him by students, not just a free-for-all thing. But anyway, the fact is, I don't have a problem with the fact that Kartel was
at the university.
This is what the academy does. It tries to bridge the gap between the, institution of learning with the wider public. And not only that, she has had a tradition of inviting many speakers to the university. So, and this is something that we must do.
Yes. So you see the reasoning that it is attack on dancehall? Because Carolina also said that, and I hear next one of your colleague, what's your name, Donna Hope, which is my surname, and I tried to figure out which part of my family she belonged to, but her husband or whosoever. But Donna Hope also says, which is that, which name they say, Carlin say, it is an attack on dancehall culture. It wasn't attacking the man himself, but it was attacking dancehall culture.
And I can see how those statements could be made, because there are people in the society who can still argue vehemently, Muta, when they hear people like myself say reggae and Rasta put Jamaica on the map. They argue about the fact that dancehall music, the music in our country is one of our largest exports, and that it is something that if we properly organize it, we are able to reap rewards and benefits for centuries. They argue about these things because we as a people don't value what we create. And if it is that we don't value what we create, it means that we're not valuing ourselves. And that, of course, comes from a long tradition of belittling ourselves in so many ways because of our enslaved past. All right? Now, people might say, well, reggae is something completely different from dancehall. Well, I'm here to tell you, some of the kind of complaints that we hear about dancehall were very much leveled at reggae. Very much leveled at
reggae and boogie yaga music.
That's correct. Yeah. Very much leveled at every single genre of music produced in this country. After a while, what is popular becomes folk, becomes acceptable. People look back at it and say, Lord, that was the good old days. In years to come, we will look back and say dancehall was the good old days. And let us not mistake the fact that the amount of dancehall music that is produced that has negative content, far less than the content that is positive. And this is something I try to point out to people all the time. What you hear about as negative is a significantly smaller percentage than what is positive. And as a matter
but you see, the problem with it now that it is the minority that overrun the majority, is the minority of that music, and also the influence of the music, or the culture that influence the music, that allow people to say there's more negativity. Because when you look on the dance hall as a place itself, and what the dance hall has produced as a cultural expression and a cultural way of life, I think that is what people talk about when them say...
That is what people talk about.
Yeah.
And the media is also to blame, Muta, because what is projected, I mean, when you talk about DJs on our radio stations nowadays playing in any segment 13 songs from any one artist, it means that we are crippling our own industry. Yeah. In fact, some people argue there's no industry. I was on your very program, Stepping Razor, talking about this, the state of the music.
Yes.
When it is that we have one person, a disc jock on radio playing 13 or 14 songs from one artist. What are we saying about the other artists? We have a large number of artists.
What I say is that the male get paid for pay the other 12, the 13.
All right. See that? Yeah. Better you say it than me.
No, I'm not afraid to say it. We say the thing, you know, we don't care. Anyway, we're going to see how it's going to turn out because there's other things left to go on with, you know, we see other things are going on in the court and, you know, we see them hold on on one man, them hold on on the juror. Yes, the jury promised somebody $500,000. I try to figure out who give this man $500,000, where the money they come from. And, you know, so much things upon now them hold on upon the next bridge, who did get to it. And now them are asking who anybody who know who did kill Roach or Mr. Upper Stone Hill there, the VP brother there. So there's so many things are going on here, so now that we don't know if it done. We don't know if it done, and it don't look like it done. You know, it don't look like it done. Based upon what me area, so now it don't look like it done. You know.
And all I'm saying, Muta, is that as academics, we have to be responsible. We have to ask the pertinent questions. I'm not only an academic. I'm a Jamaican citizen. I'm a parent. I am a teacher, and many of us want to know that we live in a place that we can raise our children.
Yes.
We want to know that we live in a place where we can trust the justice system. We want to know that we live in a place where police who are there to protect and guide and to uphold the law, help us uphold the law, are actually doing what is required to protect citizens. We want to know that the people who are producing music are not just producing negative music. They are producing music to uplift the spirit of people. This is where the music has come from. There has been a long tradition of Jamaican music, soothing the souls of people globally. When I walk around the world, people tell me that reggae, Jamaican music is medicine for the soul. We must, as people, remember this and keep our entertainers on target.
Them stop say that now, though. Them are look to other places now. Yeah, them are look to other places now for the good soul music.
It's too much work our ancestors do for us to backtrack and erase those works that have been done.
Yeah. Well, give thanks, sister, you know. I mean, the saga continue, and that's what we have to say, the saga continue.
The saga continues.
Yes. So what is now? What is next now? I mean, where you think? I mean, in terms of, all right, so the case done, we say everybody I try evaluate. I think this is one of the evaluation of the whole thing. And for instance, the police, they must say, and the DPP said this is a victory for law in Jamaica. You know, the court ruled, the court still at work. You know, I have this feeling that it is like, as we just talked about a while ago, it's like Vybz Kartel come out of the section where you say them are fight against poor people. Because based upon him flamboyancy and, you know, him palaver and him riches and him thing there, I think people actually believe say him go get way. I think the people believe say so Vybz can get judge this and get the court this and buy out the man demanding and get way just like anybody, any big guy. I think people actually seem like a big guy. Really, not like a ghetto youth, but like a big guy. And that is really fascinating because he has found guilty, so them now say the system work. The system work because here's a big guy. When no big guy has ever been tried and like him yet and get found guilty. So them are gloat over it by saying, aha, at last we catch a big guy. But the man in the street still has seen him as a ghetto youth.
That's right.
You know, see, the man and Vybz Kartel pass ghetto youth stage.
And even things for the system are fight against himself. That him presumed guilty when him really innocent, and because we don't see the evidence, we don't know. Yeah. What you know, part of what our challenge is in this country, though, you know, Muta, is that, and listen, this is not about some kind of moral grandstanding or finding, you know, virtue and all of this kind of thing, all right? But part of the challenge we have in this country is that we have gone so far down the road in trying to beat the system every time that we forget that we need to just stay upon the right track and keep each other upon the right track so that the system out there, what we talk about all the time, they have no choice but to be upon the right track with we. And it's going to take a whole heap of doing. Because I mean, when you think about the Anansi stories are always just a try to beat the system every time, and we forget the moral at the end of the day, we need to get back to the point where we can understand
and I think
understand that the more we try to beat the system will never work. We cannot try to beat the system and then at the end of the day, we expect the system to work for me.
All right.
What examples are we setting for our children and our children's children?
I don't know. I don't know, really. Believe you me. The people, them, all right. Well, it's weird. It's a weird little thing going on saw last week. It's a weird thing. You know,
Trust me now, me feel a way about it, you know. May I tell you? Me feel a way about it. And me tell you, me feel a way, so tell. Because I say, if anybody remembers me in the media talking about this thing years ago, may I say, really and truly, you know, look how Adija Palmer come show we say, Empire for Bill. Look how him come show we say, we can talk about Empire again. Even though we have forgotten how to build empires, come talk about empire again. And I say that thing consistently. And then you make yourself build a good empire, and then you bring it into disrepute. You couldn't just make we just see positive.
Did you see
some positive?
Did you see?
Sing some positive.
There was about 3 women, which I go get the clip and play it tomorrow. But there was this woman who ball up on the TV and I quote her. She say, "It's not a liar I'm killing her. It's not a big man I'm killing her. It's a man. Him kill a man. We are run up and down with him. I'm virgin him kill. So how them a treat him so." And you saw that clip? I saw that clip. I saw people tweeting about it because I'm very much a user of social media. It's a weird.
He's an ordinary person.
And she's a defense Vybz Kartel, you know.
That's correct.
She demonstrate against the verdict, you know. And she dep on the radio admit say, I know I'm friend him kill, I don't know big man him kill, I don't know liar him kill. So if you kill a liar, psychologically, it's a serious thing that we have to.
Something is very wrong with that.
You see that statement on the TV and look. All right, what are the next girl them? Our next girl beside her say, the Bible say, if you write and offend you, cut it off, and that's how we cut up the lizard. You did hear her?
No, sir.
Well, tomorrow. Me I get the clip them, I'm going to play. And next one say, I mean, it's some weird thing. And next one say, look here. Me know, this is women who are defending me now. Hear the woman. Me know same wicked, you know. But them could have it ease him up.
Yeah. So what we really are doing do ourselves when we do that?
I mean, look at man, psychologically, that is like in the parent slave ship, man. Believe you me. Because
what are we really doing to ourselves when we do that kind of thing now?
And you don't like to figure out if that woman or these women know exactly after them look back on that, what them really are say. Because them
but Muta, that's why I talk about Buju Banton in my blog post, you know. Because me is a Buju Banton fan. Okay? And me not irrational enough to think say, if you go find yourself in a place where man a sniff coke, or a taste coke, or about to buy coke, you know, mix up.
Yeah.
These are idiots. No, sir.
I hear you.
And I am a Buju fan. You say when Buju come out of jail, his first concert, me I got did it.
Yeah.
But I'm not irrational enough to think that where evidence is brought to bear against him, me I got say him innocent. Oh, me do that.
Yeah. But go back to the woman them though. Go back to the woman them. What is it that, is it intelligence? Is it lack of association with intelligent people? Or what is it that a woman who is defending a person would have said, him never did kill a liar, him never did kill a big man, I'm friend with him the monks him kill. And she defend the man from the verdict of saying him kill somebody, you know.
All right, so let me tell you this now, Muta. This is a serious thing I'm about to tell you. One of the things that we have underestimated in the whole matter of crime fighting in this country is what is called blood ties. Or we can talk about it as fluid ties, because it's not just blood. It's fluid, body fluid.
Yeah.
Saliva, semen, blood. If it's that I am getting money from my baby father, whose son is into some wrongdoings, why am I going to give away my baby father's son? When that might tell him, say, me is a traitor or informer, and he's not going to give me no more money, I'm not going to be able to live and survive.
Yeah.
That is a hindrance to crime fighting.
Yeah, but you say, but this is not, no, this is a different scenario, though, you know.
No.
This woman on the TV is not a woman who defend her man because she feels, say, the money are gone. This is a woman who admit to a verdict which she don't agree with.
No, I know, but I'm saying there are so many ways that we ourselves, whether psychologically or otherwise, shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yes.
And mash up the system where we say supposed to work for it.
Yes.
That is the point I'm making.
Yeah. Yes. And
we watch every day a country where crime is a problem, and we still must never inform. We can't help the police to fight crime. The police themselves sometimes mix up with the crime. How are we going to fix that?
Yeah,
we must have to start somewhere.
We're not quagmire. We must
have to start somewhere, Muta. Me I say, if we start by understanding that every single citizen have a responsibility in this country, for this country,
yes,
and for the people of this country, and we are our brothers and sisters keepers,
yeah,
we have to start somewhere, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, Mama, we have to move here now, though. Give thanks to the time, the energy, and
thanks, Muta.
I am hoping that Carolyn Cooper will be back here next, whatsoever, that I can really. I should have bring you to town in the studio and get some gloves.
No, sir. No gloves will be necessary. Professor Cooper is not a violent person, and neither am I.
Don't look here. That is what we all.
As a colleague of mine at the University of the West Indies, yes, I would never be disrespectful to her.
Well,
I would be trying to advance a conversation that is about solutions.
Yeah, this is not a television, so if you hit her, you won't be seen, and I won't tell nobody.
That is not funny.
But you laugh.
That is arms out.
Yeah, but the arms out, we are working here, so no.
No, I'm not into cat media.
Anyway, give thanks, Mama, give thanks.
Yes, give thanks.
All right, that was Dr. Sanya Naya reading our argument about the difference between Adidja Palmer and Vybz Kartel, and giving our opinions about the whole situation. Okay, this is the Cutting Edge on RFM.